taking responsibility for your decisions. Um, this week, I think, is going to be all about healing stuff because I've noticed there are a lot of people, a lot of people out there that are not healing, not doing the healing work. I don't know if they just don't know that they need to do this or if they're avoiding it. But taking responsibility for your decisions can save you a whole lot of trouble in the long run. And what I mean by this is if you find yourself in a position where you're moving forward in your life, let's say you're starting a new relationship. And in starting that new relationship, there's something or several things that are not perfectly ideal. And you know that, and I think this comes with age. You get to a point where you know that if you make a decision to do something, you could eat it 5 years down the road, okay? But this is something that will save you a whole lot of time when it comes to healing in the future if things don't go the way you wanted them to go. And that is, you take those things that are not ideal at the beginning and you say, you write them down or think about them if there's one thing. So we'll just say there's one thing, but there may be several things, and you do the same thing for each one. And you look at it. You go to a quiet place and you sit down and you look at this issue. And you ask yourself, if things go bad, what are the possible outcomes of making this decision? So let's say you're going to get in a relationship with somebody and it's kind of at that tipping point. And you know that there is a situation in that relationship that is not perfect. It's not ideal. And it could go one way or another. Sit down, look at the issue, and do this do this when it requires honesty, okay? And it's really hard to do, especially if you're in big lust or little love with somebody and you really want to progress with the relationship, but there's this one thing that's hanging out there. But you need to do this for your future self. So you want to look at whatever this thing is and say, is it acceptable to me to step into this relationship with this one thing? And if this one thing turns out to be something major in the future, like a make or break situation, will I be able to live with the consequences? Will I be able to forgive myself for making this decision in the first place? Okay, it seems kind of hard. I am talking about things that, I don't know that I've ever had a relationship that was so perfect that I didn't have a doubt, at least one doubt about something in that relationship. And I learned through many trials and errors, to sit down and be honest with myself. If this one particular thing that I am concerned about goes bad, it could go bad. You assume it will go bad. Are you willing to take the risk? Are you willing to suffer the consequences? Are you willing to deal with the heartbreak that will come if this one particular situation goes bad? Or will you be able to overcome that particular situation? And in the throes of lust and love, we always think we can. So I'm saying you need to be in your heartbroken self. Okay? You need to put yourself in a position during that moment of feeling like the world has just ended on your relationship or whatever decision it is you're making. I'm using relationships just because it seems to be really common. But it could be taking a job. It could be starting a business. It could be anything. It could be, your new workout plan. It could be something as simple as that. There is always one negative that could turn into a very bad deal in the future. So you need to put yourself in that bad space. Look at it from a perspective of that one thing just went bad. Don't look at it from, oh, I'm so in love, I'm so in lust. It won't work because you'll lie to yourself if you're in that space. You will fool yourself. You will say, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm fine. I'm fine. No. You need to really look at it. Look at what could go wrong. And will you be able to take responsibility for your decision when it does go wrong? Is this a risk that you're willing to take? And if you can put yourself in that bad place of this has just happened, not the, oh, I'm so in love place, you will be able to save yourself a whole lot of trouble in the future, no matter what happens. Because if it doesn't happen, if you decide to go through with this thing that you're doing, and that situation never happens, you're all good. If you decide to go through with it and it does happen, and I have to make a note here. Once you make a decision, you need to let it go. You can't think about the fact that this could happen or it will happen, or because you'll literally manifest that thing into your life and you will literally make it happen. So you have to let it go and not focus on it. But you do have to make a conscious decision about whether or not you are willing to suffer the consequences if it does go bad. Are you willing to take responsibility for your own choices? You can't get to that brokenhearted place and look back and say it's all your fault. No. When you make a conscious choice, when you decide you are willing to take a risk on this situation, you know you are focusing in saying there is a chance, there is a risk that this could happen. And you, by making yourself aware of it at that point and then letting it go, making a decision. What happens is when you get to the end and it does actually happen, if it does happen, you don't have to heal as much as you would have had you gone into it blindly, because you made a decision. You are the one that made the choice, and you are the one that is responsible for making that choice. You knew, and you consciously chose to go forward regardless of what you thought might happen. And if you can do that and it all goes to complete crap at any point in the future, and that thing does come up, you will not have to heal nearly as much as if you just blew it off and ignored it. If you blow it off and ignore it, what's going to happen is when you get hurt or when you're in that situation that you knew could happen, your business just failed. You knew it. And you know you knew it all the way back at the beginning. But you ignored the warning signs. And at that point, you not only have to heal from the pain that maybe somebody else caused, or maybe some circumstance caused, but now you have to work to forgive yourself for making a really bad decision or ignoring it. That's the problem. If you make the decision and you say, I am willing to risk this for this potential outcome, it will be easier for you to forgive yourself, first of all. If it does go to crap, it will be easier for you. You can say, you know what? I knew this was a possibility. I knew this was probably going to happen. I sat down, I thought it through, I made a conscious decision to continue to move forward with this thing, regardless of the circumstances. And at the end, you can say, I knew it, I made a decision to go forward. And literally, that's all you have to say. You will not have to forgive yourself. You will not have to kick yourself 500 times because you knew the potential and you made a conscious choice to follow through with that decision, regardless of that negative potential being there. And at the end of it, you can just say, I did it. I made a conscious choice. I gambled and I lost. And you can move on. Then you can move on to healing from anything that the other person did or any circumstance that happened that was out of your control. It makes healing so much easier and so much better. But you literally, sorry, I have like lotion on my face and I think I have a dog hair to my face. Anyway, you can literally eliminate a large portion of the pain that you would normally feel at the end of a situation by really focusing in and saying, okay, this is the potential. I know this could be a problem, and I am either not willing to go through the potential pain, and in which case you decide, I'm not going to do it. And it helps to clarify your position on why you're not going to do it. Or you say, I am willing to suffer the consequences, and you go through with it. The consequences may or may not happen, but the point is, if they do happen, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You take complete and total responsibility for that decision. And that is the key to healing quickly. Some things you don't know. There are many situations that you don't know when you're going into a decision. There is no decision to make. You don't know. If something is kept from you, if you're lied to, if you're deceived, you can't make a conscious decision. That is a completely different situation. I'm talking about those things that you know when you are beginning whatever that project is. Be it a business, be it a relationship, be it your workout program. It can be something as simple as that. So make sure when you're starting new things to think about, don't dwell on it. Don't think about all the potential things that could go wrong. That's not the point. The point is, when we get into a situation, we always know there is something that could go wrong. We always know it. And that is the thing that I am saying you need to look at, you need to make a decision about, and you need to remember that decision when it happens so that you can take responsibility for your own stuff. I hope that helps. Take care.